Hello, everybody. As the dust settles around SEBI's recategorization exercise, I'm sure investors must be confused after having receiving multiple messages and information about fundamental attribute changes, mergers of schemes that they're holding, and the question on everyone's mind would be, what should I do with my portfolio? So today, what we're attempting to do is just try to demystify some of these changes and really talk to investors about what should they be doing in this scenario. The first thing I would say is do not panic, do not press the trigger button before analyzing what you really need to do with your portfolio. I think that's the first rule that you need to follow as an investor. Uh, it would be a good idea to sit down with your financial advisor and just do a review or a re-review of your risk return objectives. Since anyways we're going to be looking at your portfolio, do that review again, understand if any of your metrics have changed, and after that then get a sense of what your portfolio should look like after you've done this re-review. That's really the starting step, and you need to consult your financial advisor when you do that. Post that, the funds that you're holding in your portfolio, you need to start drilling down and understanding really what are the fundamental changes with that. And now there's obviously a lot of news that's going around that XYZ fund has dramatically changed its mandate. Do not just go by what you hear and say is happening. I think it's important for you and your advisor to sit down and actually drill down to gauge how fundamental the change has actually been. While it might seem fundamentally different on paper, actually the truth might be that it's not radically different from the way it was being managed before. So I think that's something you should spend some time in understanding the mandates, the new mandates of the funds, and before you actually take a call on that. The other things that you need to keep in mind is obviously taxation. A lot of funds would have obviously given the option to exit within the next 1 month without a load, but it's important to acknowledge that the load typically, especially for an equity fund, comes only in the first year of holding. And if you're going to exit in the load-free period, you actually might be worse off because you're going to be paying short-term capital gains of 15% versus long-term capital gains, which are either at 10% or probably close to zero if you have grandfathering option available, which the finance minister has made available in this budget. So I think these are some of the rules that you need to keep in mind before we really go ahead and make any changes to the portfolio. The other submission that we the advice that we would give you is that like we were saying, that there's no need to press that panic button right away. The portfolios will take a couple of months to kind of reshuffle and move to the new mandate, so there is time in your hands. Assess it carefully. There's no harm in waiting for a quarter or two before you actually get a sense of the way the portfolio is going to be managed, and after that you could take a call according to the overall portfolio approach that you would be looking at.